session, I think, for the. Now, are you? Do you have like a really beautiful script signature? Is it more like a scrawl when you do autographs, or how seriously do you take the autograph process when you're in that position?
Well, it's actually a funny story. When I first started, when I was like coming up with my autograph, it was really clean. Super. Everybody could read it very perfectly. And then I went to the rookie premiere in California, and they had us sign like 8,000. They had us sign like 8,000 cards in 2 days.
Oh man!
And so the first couple hours, I'm doing my signature, and I'm like halfway where everybody else is. So I'm like, oh yeah, I had to change it up real quick. I was never gonna leave.
I understand. So by the end of it, it ends up being a bit of a scrawl, is what you're saying. That's a lot of autographs to sign, man. That's tough on the the hand.
It was a lot. It was a long 2 days. It was fun though.
So the theme with you so far in camp and stories that have been written seems to be, okay, they're throwing a lot of stuff at you. You're a rookie. Generally speaking around the league, tight ends in their first year don't get a lot of playing time right out of the gate. And the word is because it's a difficult position and they are throwing a lot of stuff at you. Do you feel overwhelmed, or do you think that's being a little bit overrated about what you have had to learn and how quickly you have to learn it?
I mean, at first I feel like I was a little bit overwhelmed, but now, for me this is about day 13 or 14 in the camp. So, I'm really starting to get situated and acclimated with the offense. So, there's here and there's a few little mental errors, but, I'm pretty much fully there and, ready to help this team.
What have you been around here long enough to figure out what the role, how prominent the role is going to be? Is it more blocking? Is it more receiving? Do you have to kind of be able and prepared to do both? What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Stefanski, he's going to do a great job of implementing the tight ends in his offense, whether we're split out with our hand in the dirt in the backfield. So, I feel like I can help the team in all those aspects, and whatever Coach Stefanski and Kubiak, whatever they want me to do, I'm for it.
We all assume, everybody assumes that if you are a part of the football machine that is the University of Alabama, that the preparation is invaluable, that in many ways, we all know college football is different from pro, but that nevertheless, that if you prepare yourself and you get coached in that environment with that much pressure, obviously, where the expectations every year aren't winning a conference, every year expectations are winning a national championship,
definitely,
that helps prepare you for whatever comes. Do you buy that? Do you think that makes a big difference?
Oh yeah, I 100% believe that. In high school, when you're thinking about choosing a school, I had offers from a lot of different schools, but at the end of the day, I wanted to go to Alabama to win championships and ultimately to get to where I'm at right now in the NFL. So, I feel like Alabama, Coach Saban, he just, each day he has his, he has his mindset. This is what we doing. This is how we doing it. And if you don't do it, then it's your loss and you're not going to help the team. So, you definitely got to put the team first and you just got to grind. And I feel like the NFL is a grind. So if you keep carrying that mindset the positive way, then it's only going to help you.
Is there any, when you said you obviously had a number of choices, is there any part of you that says, okay, because it is about winning championships there, individually numbers for my position might not necessarily be as great as perhaps they might be someplace else that passes a lot more, but maybe they don't win as much. Was that at all tempting to say, well, I may win, and that's an important thing, but I also want to give myself the best chance to go to the next level? Was there ever any temptation to say, man, I'll go to a place where maybe I'm catching 75, 80, 90 balls a year?
Well, yeah, it's actually funny because throughout my recruitment process, when I first started getting recruited like my junior year. I was hurt my sophomore year of high school. And so I had got offers from my spring year. I got offers from A&M, just a lot of SEC schools, stuff like that. And I actually committed to A&M because they were a pass-heavy team. And I'm like, Alabama had offered me, but I kind of just ran with the offer. I didn't really take anything of it. And then I actually ended up decommitting from A&M. And Coach Burns from Alabama, he once he seen that, he called me. He was like, we're still interested. Just come take a visit. And so I went and took a visit. O.J. Howard just came off that huge game he had in the national championship, and he was going in his senior year, and he was staying. And, he hadn't caught a lot of balls really, but, he was still projected a first-round pick, just off of going to Alabama, producing and stuff like that. So I knew after he left, just watching him, and if I did what I needed to do, then I was going to have to put myself in that same situation.
Irv Smith Jr. is our guest, tight end, your Minnesota Vikings club. I was kidding with my producer, Justin Gard, behind you as we were talking about having you on. That, and he, Gardsey brought up, he said, man, I wonder if he's got any good Saban stories. And I said, well, the question always is, does anybody feel comfortable to say whatever those stories are? Because he's Nick Saban. So can you get us behind the curtain a little bit about what it is like to play for him and why, now that you're on the inside, he's been as successful as he has? Because people assume that Alabama was always good. It was for a long time. But the truth of the matter is, there are stretches where it was nowhere near as good as it's become. It's an empire again. What do you observe? What's the secret in your mind?
I just feel like, he has a formula. He's created something that no other coach has been able to create in college football. He gets the best players, but it's the mindset. You have to have the right mindset every day to come to work. No matter if we play a game that Saturday, Monday we back to work. Even Sunday we're lifting, stretch and stride back to work. So, even for example, we played in the national championship. I played there 3 years. We were there all 3 years, and we played in the national championship. We're still, say we play on Monday, that whole week we're still in full pads, hitting. You know what I'm saying? So it's, not many teams are doing that. I'm sure I'm talking to other people. I'm like, so when are y'all done with full pads? They're like, oh, halfway through the season type of deal. I'm like, we're in the national championship.
Still doing it.
We have 4 practices, at least 2 of them full pads. So,
how much of a culture shock was it when you first got there? Because one thing is to be warned or to know, but one thing is then to get actually in the culture. Was it difficult at all when you realized, man, this got a chance to be really good, but this is a meat grinder too. This is not going to be easy.
Yeah, I kind of knew what I was getting myself into just from watching and hearing about stuff. But when I first got there, we started it off with 110s. It was we ran 20 110s.
Oh,
and
20?
Yeah, 20 of them the first day. And
it's not very warm down in Tuscaloosa,
no,
is it?
It's not warm at all.
At that time of year, it's about 50 degrees, right?
Yeah,
no humidity, right?
No humidity at all. So, we're out there running 110s and dudes are falling out, you know what I'm saying? And it was just rough. And then, that summer we don't go without pads. It's just 7-on-7, stuff like that. And then the first day of pads, I seen Reuben Foster run. We was doing half line run drill or something, and a guard pulled, and Reuben Foster just laid out the guard. And I was like, oh yeah, this
is real.
I was like, this is real. I was like, you really got to bring every play. You got to bring it. You're gonna, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna expose you.
So probably compared to that, Zim probably feels like he's a prince. He's easy. Is it, the trend even in college football, I think, is to not hit as much, or for coaches to not be quite as tough and demanding as they used to be, but he just keeps on rolling the same way, eh? That's just his deal.
Yeah, definitely. It's really just your mindset. In high school when you get recruited by them, you know what you're getting yourself into, kind of.
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
That's true.
But it produces championships and the most NFL players in the NFL, or so if you want that, then Alabama's a place to be. No matter, if you had a right mindset, you got to make that choice.
Do you ever crack a joke with Coach Saban? Are you allowed to do that? Can you do that? Does he have a surprising sense of humor that a lot of us don't realize, or does he ever loosen up in that way where you see a different side of him?
Oh yeah, he's definitely I feel like Coach Saban, he is a player's coach. You can say he's not. It depends. It depends on your point of view with him, but he cares about us. He's gonna do everything he can to support us and back us up, and he loves us. Coach Saban. When I just went back after I got drafted, I went back, and I gave him a hug, and he was so happy for me and excited.
He has not forgotten about you after the fact. He still knows you exist, is what you're.
Yeah, he's still mad I left.
Well,
he's still got that.
It's a little bit of that.
In his backbone, but he knows how to do what's best for me.
You obviously grew up in a football family with your dad having played. How much, as you look back on that, does that help? Just sort of maybe better understanding the culture? Do you think it makes a big difference, or do you think it wouldn't really matter all that much?
I mean, I definitely think it makes a big difference. I didn't play. My dad, he didn't let me play football till like 8th grade. So I was.
How did you feel about that?
I was mad.
Were you mad?
Yeah, I always played basketball. I love basketball, but like all my friends was, you know what I'm saying, we had recess. That's the only time I got to play football. And so all my friends, you know, they going to football practice. And, you know, I was mad, but, you know, finally.
What did he say? Why did he keep you out?
He was just like, you don't need football yet. Basketball is going to, you know what I'm saying, help your athleticism, stuff like that. Like, you don't need to bump and grind and do all that hitting at a young age. It's only going to, you know, hurt you. So
for him, it was a safety issue?
Mm-hmm.
He's saying don't get he was worried about your health.
Yeah, I say more worried about my health, and just he knew how good of a basketball player I was, and he knew it was going to help me with football. So, you know, it definitely correlates.
Irv Smith Jr., our guest in the fan. Last question for you: do you see an opportunity? Have you been in camp long enough to say, I think that if I do things right, I have a chance based on what I'm seeing in this offense to make an immediate impact? Do you have a feel on that, and how important is it for you to try to make an immediate impact? I'm talking about, you know, at the line of scrimmage, playing in this offense.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I didn't know during the draft process, I didn't really think I was going to end up coming to the Vikings, really. And, you know, once they drafted me, when I thought about it, I was like, it's the perfect place for me. And, you know, I'm so, like, the coaches, they've done such a great job of, you know, what they want to do with me and this offense, and, you know, how it's going to go. So I think it's going to be special. What do you think?
I think that the feeling I get is, yes, that because they clearly, in remaking this offense from last year, they want to use 2 tight ends a lot more, and they want to make that a bigger part of this offense. And I would think they're hoping that you can give them. You know, I even look at it as some of the patterns I saw where you seem to get loose in college. It almost looked like you could be in almost a wide receiver role, depending on the route. And that my guess is they're looking at that as, well, he's got some versatility here. So maybe not just the classic tight end catches. Maybe we can get in some one-on-ones and some matchup in our favor where maybe even get the ball downfield. I assume you wouldn't mind that.
Oh, no, definitely. Definitely. I'm excited.
Pleasure to meet you.
You will.
Appreciate that.
Thank
Irv
you.
Smith Jr. helping us out. Vikings tight end in his rookie season. Will continue from Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center in a minute right here on The Fan.
This is Dan Barreiro.